Hello, it's Debbie, and thanks for joining me on Move or Improve with Debbie. I want to talk this time about LGBTQ retirees and some of the issues they are facing. This is one of a three-part series, so be sure you listen in on all of them. And we are talking today about housing issues. Since I'm a realtor, that is near and dear to me. Every day since 2011, 10,000 baby boomers have been turning 65. According to SAGE, that's SAGE, which is the acronym for Services and Advocacy for Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, and Transgender Elders, the current population of that group of retirees in the U.S. that's over the age of 55 is approximately 3 million. But by 2030, that number will be about 7 million. Health issues will increase as this generation ages, as it will for all baby boomers. But decisions must be made as to whether they can age in place where they currently live or make the move to another location if the area they are in isn't friendly towards older LGBTQ retirees. As that number increases, there will be a growing need to not only discover locations that welcome the LGBT community, but also build or providing housing solutions that meet a variety of needs for this age group. Factors like the weather, the cost of living, healthcare options, and the housing that might be available in a given area, the social activities, and the involvement in the culture of any area being considered are just a few of the considerations that they will have to think about, because not all cities are welcome to those who are living a non-traditional lifestyle, as other people like to call it. Many older retirees grew up in an era where being gay was illegal and it was considered a mental illness or sickness as defined by the American Psychiatric Association. Even though it's been 40 plus years since the APA issued its resolution stating that homosexuality was not a mental illness, LGBTQ advocates are still fighting to achieve equality. Despite significant steps forward, many states still lack clear, fully inclusive, non-discriminatory protections for LGBTQ people, meaning that these people are at risk of being fired, denied housing, and denied services for who they are or whom they love. Many of them were treated differently than heterosexual couples as far as deposits, applications, or the availability of rental housing was concerned. And the University of Iowa did a study, and they found that the researchers analyzed data from Home Mortgage Disclosure Act and the Boston Federal Reserve and Fannie Mae loan performance. And despite the national legalization of same-sex marriage, sexual orientation and gender identity still are having trouble on the mortgage side. The law bans discrimination, but they are now getting higher interest rates on their mortgages. 46% of LGBTQ renters are worried about discrimination if they want to buy a house. They have less choice where they can live, and they are getting charged higher interest rates often as well, which is a form of discrimination, obviously. There are only 21 states or localities that offer protection under the fair housing laws that are based There are only 21 states or localities that offer protection under fair housing laws that are based on sexual orientation or gender identity. The resolution from the APA stated, quote, "We will no longer insist on a label of sickness for individuals who insist that they are well and demonstrate no generalized impairment in social effectiveness," end quote. The statement continued to say the APA supports, quote, "civil rights legislation at local, state, and federal levels that would assure homosexual citizens the same protection now guaranteed to others," end quote. Many in this group have faced difficult housing choices. Should they move into a, quote unquote, traditional retirement community and not disclose their identity? Or should they be open about it and hoping that the staff and the residents don't discriminate against them or shun them? More and better housing solutions are being developed to meet the needs of this group, including sensitivity training for long-term care staff and home health agencies. As the number of LGBTQ seniors rises, housing options will also increase and improve. Many of them are affordable housing apartments in urban areas that offer on-site support services and socialization among residents. Few anti-discrimination laws will allow that federal anti-discrimination laws do allow that heterosexual seniors can live in the same community. Some of the challenges facing the LGBTQ community include the fact that Social Security and Medicaid Some of the challenges facing the LGBTQ community include the fact that Social Security and Medicaid don't recognize LGBTQ families, and Social Security doesn't pay survivor benefits to same-sex partners. There are states that have no laws to prevent discrimination based on sexual orientation in housing, insurance, or employment. There are recent HUD guidelines that state that staff members must treat gender identity discrimination as gender discrimination under the Fair Housing Act. People who face gender identity discrimination can now file a complaint with HUD directly. But many LGBTQ retirees are single and childless, and they often remain ostracized from their families, which makes them rely heavily on friends and community services for help. LGBTQ retirees are like heterosexual baby boomer retirees in that they both want vibrant communities in urban areas that can provide for their needs and comfort as they age. And universal design should be incorporated into their living spaces so they can age comfortably. Here are some options to consider if you're looking into making a move or staying where you are. The first option is stay where you are or age in place, it's known. This approach depends on the age and the interior design of your current home. If it's older, as much of the housing stock in the U.S. is, modifications will need to be made to accommodate getting older. And this could include things like installing a curbless shower, having a no-step front entry, having wider hallways, improving the lighting on the outside as well as the inside. The lighting inside should have light switches that are lower in case you're ever in a wheelchair. And the light outside at the curb should light up so an ambulance can find you after dark. You can have separate space for a live-in or a home health aide to help with your care, and sometimes that's a good solution. The second option would be a retirement community. This type of arrangement can be in a single-level home or a condominium in a community reserved for people over 55. There are community amenities like swimming and golf and exercise facilities and a variety of other ways to socialize and meet other residents. And you'll pay a monthly fee for the staff to maintain the community amenities and care for the grounds, so you don't have to. Many of these obviously are gated communities, and because of that, you want to check on the type of security they offer as well. Some will have, at the gate, they will have a security guard allowing people in. Others will have a fob that you swipe over a fixed area as at the entry, so the gate goes up automatically when you swipe it. Others will have security people patrolling the inside of the community just to keep a watch out on things and make sure nothing weird's going on. The third option would be an assisted living facility. Now, if you move here, it's really because you need some help with the activities of daily living. And activities of daily living could be help getting out of bed in the morning, taking a shower, remembering to take your medication. It can also include you have issues with cooking or getting dressed, and it makes it more of a challenge for you. And these are activities of daily living. A fourth option would be a life plan community. These used to be called continuing care retirement communities. They do have large upfront costs, but if you have the funds, you can rest assured that the people there will care for you until you die. As long as you can live independently at the initial admittance, they will take care of you from there. Many will have memory care, hospice, assisted living, and nursing care to follow you through your life changes. A fifth option would be a condominium. You're going to want to choose one with an elevator rather than a garden style or walk up. And you want to carefully review the rules and regulations and bylaws of the building. Review the budget and the meeting minutes from the past several board meetings. Find out if there's any special assessments coming up and how much the condo's monthly fees have gone up over the years. Can you have a pet? How much parking is available and what kind? Is it garage? Is it covered? Is it open? What is included in the monthly condo fee? Sometimes utilities are included, and it's always the maintenance of the grounds. Usually you have a specified time frame to review the documents and ask any questions, and you can also Google the state that you're thinking of moving to and Google their condo rules for the state, because each state has their own different set of rules, but you will have a chance to review them once you write an offer. But it's always a good idea to just be familiar, because then you can make a separate list of questions to ask to find out what's going on, because you're going to talk to people who live there already as well as board members, and while you're getting a feel for the place, you may fall in love, but then you may be restricted as far as fencing on your property, the color of the front door, things like that. And a lot of these places will have people who literally follow you around and make sure that every blade of grass is perfectly tended. So you want to be sure that you're moving into a place that will have the same kind of feelings that you do about caring for your property. The sixth option is co-housing. This is growing in popularity because so many baby boomers and LGBTQ are included in that. It's something to consider for the long term, and people who co-house often don't have the funds to be able to survive on their own. So by joining up with others, it helps to live more easily and simply and save your money for other things like travel or things you want to do rather than spend all the money on housing. And it's an option to consider for the long term, really. If you or someone you know owns a home with a lot of extra bedrooms and space, and you can rent out the other bedrooms and share the house with your new roommates, or you can become a roommate at one of the other properties. You'll want to make sure the person is compatible with the other people already there, obviously. And you want to find out what their hobbies or interests are. Somebody may like cooking, somebody may like to garden. Other people won't mind watching your pet while you're away. And make sure it's okay for everybody to have a pet. If not, that may limit who you can take in. Somebody may be handy with a hammer or enjoy the opera or eating out. You want to put all the rules in writing, similar to what you would have in a lease, but state the noise levels that will be tolerated. Can you have somebody come over for the weekend and spend the night? All those kinds of things are important considerations to think about. Well, we've talked about some of the options, but where can you find a place that meets your requirements? Well, there are many great gay retirement cities, and you want to choose one that has the weather you like, the location. Is it convenient to amenities like the shopping and restaurants and medical facilities that you're likely going to need? Well, the National Association of Realtors recently published a list of cities that are LGBTQ friendly. Here are a few that